There's one framework that you can use that's very simple to go from draining one-on-one coaching work to having a thriving group coaching program where you can make more money, make a big impact, help your clients while being able to maintain your sanity and peace the entire time. When I installed this framework in my business, I was able to sign 22 clients in the matter of 30 days and added more than $20,000 of recurring revenue into my business, helping all these clients without having to sacrifice all of my time dealing with them one-on-one in the process. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can replicate the results in your business so that you can go from one-on-one coaching or not getting paid with your worth to having a thriving coaching business where you're helping lots of people at the same time and making lots of money. Everybody wins. Let's address the elephant in the room. You are underpaid and overworked. Maybe you're spending a ton of time doing one-on-one consultations. Maybe you're not charging what you're worth. You're probably experiencing a lot of emotional drain from having to deal with so many clients for so little money. And when you're just doing one-on-one stuff, you have a limited income ceiling because you can only work with so many people. Sound familiar? Well, here's the truth. You're stuck in the trap that most coaches get stuck in. You think that the answer to your problems is just signing more clients, raising your prices, working longer hours, or hustling harder. There is a different way. And this way is about leveraging groups to multiply your impact and your income. So let's talk about doing that right now. So picture this. Instead of juggling 6, 12, 20 different one-on-one clients, you have a group coaching program where you're serving those same 12 to 20 clients. You're working with them all at the same time. They're paying you on a recurring basis. They're getting the same exact level of results with a 10th of your personal time and attention. Does that sound too good to be true? It's not. It's something that you could replicate easily using what I call the SSS framework. So SSS stands for structure, support, and success. Here's how I came up with it. So back in the day, I used to do a ton of one-on-one coaching. I would charge like these ridiculously low rates. I would get on calls with individual people like every single week. I was texting with them back and forth. Like I was giving them all of my energy. But after months of this approach, I realized something important. And it's something that helps me stop struggling with so much burnout in my business. So for months, I couldn't understand why I couldn't scale my income. I couldn't understand like, oh, I was continuing to be in this cycle of feeling burnt out and frustrated, and for like a while I just didn't see a way out of it. But then it hit me, like the limitations in my business had nothing to do with my ability as a coach, and it had everything to do with my delivery model, like the way I was delivering the information. I was trying to be everything to everyone all the time, thinking that it was my time and energy that delivered the results, which actually wasn't the case at all. So I was just wasting energy for no reason. Had I understood what really drives success, having a community where there's like an ecosystem that helps all the students win instead of doing everything myself, I would have noticed that the community and the peer support are just as valuable as what I had to offer. So I stopped doing all the one-on-one stuff and I decided to scale. Instead of coaching everyone at once, I created a model that allows me to help everyone at the same time. And that's how I came up with the SSS framework that I'm about to show you right now. So the first S is structure. So the first element is making sure there's a proper structure in your program that helps people get results in a way that's easy and seamless for you to implement in your business. So one of the first keys is having like a specific onboarding number of new people that you take in each month. For me, that number is 12. So I have a little bit of one-on-one access in my program where like you get an initial onboarding call with me. I found that anything past 12 means there's too many new people to manage. So if you have 12 people coming in a month, they're paying you high ticket prices, and some of them are on monthly payment plans, your income can compound and scale over time. And then in terms of a format that works really well, I started out with a 12-week structure, right? So I had 12 people at a time, 12-week structure with a specific outcome and result to help them get in that 12 weeks. I like the 12-week framework because it's long enough to help someone get a result, it's short enough to be able to sell easily, and it's perfect for testing and refining. So now I have a little bit of a longer in-depth program, but I started out with that 90-day time frame and it worked really, really well. So here's the basic format. You have no more than 12 people signing up at a time each month. You're going to have at least one weekly call. You can do up to 2 where you are serving and coaching everyone at once, right? So if you do 2, you can do them at 2 different time frames so people in different situations can be worked with and get results. But having 12 people at a time, those 2 weekly calls, that allows you to serve everyone and deliver the content to everyone and help everyone get their questions answered all at the same time. And the easiest way to do this if you're building it from scratch is when you're doing these weekly calls, the first half, you deliver your structured content, and the second half, you have your Q&A. So the 30 minutes at the beginning, you do your structured content, your structured lesson, and the second half, you do Q&A. Or you could do it where the first call is all content. And then the second call is questions. So that's the way I built my current coaching program. Is I went week to week. I deliver all the content live with weekly lessons. Then that became my evergreen content where people now just come in, they get the recordings, but then I do all the refinement and I do new lessons on the weekly calls. And then I take that and store that in the more like advanced section of the portal. And then you also want to have some basic elements, right? So if there's some foundational things they need to learn, maybe you could create a small handful of recorded lessons before you onboard anyone. But the rest of that stuff can be taken care of during the live stuff where you record it and then store it in your portal. You want to make sure you have, a quick onboarding, a welcome sequence, emails explaining where everything is. And then you want to have a portal to host your group. For me, I use School. It's a company that Alex Hormozi invested in. It's really easy to use. So find a platform like School, upload your onboarding materials there, upload your core curriculum there, and then take in those 12 students and walk them through the content with live calls. And then you can store it in your portal as evergreen. Pillar number 2 is support. So most coaches think support means that they have to be constantly there, getting on calls with people individually in order for them to get help. And that's not the way to do it. Instead of you having to talk directly one-on-one on calls with everyone, you create your community where the support can be facilitated. So when they have questions, you can post them. They can post them inside the school and perhaps get an answer. But then they're not just getting answers from you, they're getting answers from the other students, right? So over time, especially as your group gets bigger, there's going to be some students who are earlier along, some people who are more advanced. So it becomes an ecosystem where people can help each other. And then when it comes to the actual support of how you help people, instead of always getting on Zoom to answer questions, you're going to start creating resources. So if you notice a particular FAQ coming up over and over again, you can make an FAQ section in your portal, or you can shoot little, 3 to 5 minute lessons answering the FAQ. You create an onboarding sequence and welcome materials and a clear curriculum that describes everything properly so that they can get results without having to speak with you the entire time to get them. And then last, you definitely want to have a wins channel. You want to have some section in your portal where people, when they get the result, they could post it for everyone, get celebrated, get likes. It really helps foster that environment because they get supported when they win, and then other people see that it's possible by seeing their win. So having the wins channel is super important. So it actually provides more support having this portal, this community, and this ecosystem because the content is working for you 24/7 versus you always having to be one-on-one. Then you have these resources and materials like the FAQs, the videos, the welcome sequence that helps answer their questions without having to talk to you. Then there's the ecosystem in the community. Like, yeah, you can be in there answering questions, but it's a lot easier for you to go maybe quickly answer a question inside of a school versus having to hop on a call with somebody every time someone needs help. And then you also have the weekly calls where if people do have questions, they still get that opportunity to get access to you, but you're doing it one to many so that instead of you doing 12 hours of calls per week, you have 12 people get on one call that takes 1 hour. And the last pillar is success. You want to focus on tangible outcomes. This is how you create something that is not just a vague course, but it's actually like a system for success. So we have some sort of tracking system, right? So when you come inside of my program, we have certain things, metrics that you have to hit in order to get the results. And there's like a worksheet and everything like that for you to fill out to make sure you're moving in the right direction. So you want to build something like that for your business. And then you want to have different milestones to celebrate along the way, right? So in my case, like, getting your new offer is a milestone. Having your first call booked is a milestone. Getting your first sale is a milestone. Landing your first 3 clients is a milestone, right? So there's all these different things that occur where you're continuously celebrating and reinforcing that it's a good idea to be in your program. And it keeps people there longer, it keeps them more excited, and it motivates them because they see the natural progression of their results. So the success stage is where you're also going to implement regular check-ins to identify and overcome obstacles, those milestone celebrations to help them maintain momentum, course correction protocols when needed, right? So if you notice a particular issue that's going on, you just shoot a lesson for them, move them back on course. And then next steps and guidance for continued growth, right? So when you get a certain set of people and you solve one problem for them, that's where you can begin to think about, more bells and whistles and more advanced solutions. Or maybe for a really, really high price, they can get more one-on-one access to you, but it's a more profitable, impactful way to build your business than just doing one-on-ones that's going to burn you out. Now you might be wondering, will my clients get enough attention without having the one-on-one access to me constantly? Will they get enough attention in a group setting? What if my clients prefer individual attention? These are all valid concerns, but the SSS framework addresses a lot of these. Number one, usually when one client is going through something, the rest of them are going through something very similar. So you helping answer one question live on a call knocks down the dominoes, because like a lot of people had the same question and you just answered it for all of them by answering it for one person. The group dynamic creates more accountability and motivation. Seeing different ways your fellow students are attacking the problems helps them solve their own, because like there's a more diverse set of things going on. And then that community support is something that can live beyond you just being there all the time. So it's like an ecosystem that builds on its own. And then with the SSS framework, you could serve more clients working fewer hours and make better profits, right? So let's say you're onboarding 12 people at a time and you charge them each, let's say $1,000 a month or $2,500 paid in full for that 12 weeks access. Well, if you sign those 12 clients, that's going to be essentially the equivalent of $12,000 a month without you having to work with any of them one-on-one. And then what you could do after that is, after they go through that 12-week aspect of the program, you can sell them what's called continuity, where you give them a lower price where they can continue to have access to the content for a lower price, but then you're still getting those recurring payments, and they need less attention later on than when they first got onboarded. So then you can onboard those 12 new people, and then you can have that MRR recurring revenue start to stack. So that's how you can eventually go to having a very big community that's still at those high ticket prices where some people are on continuity, and then the math just starts to work in your favor a lot better. Now, I want you to look at the bigger picture. Imagine you put the SSS framework in your business and you let it run for 12 months. You're onboarding 5 new clients a month, 6, 7, 8, 12. And now the MRR is starting to compound. You're building new pieces to the library. And then eventually a year from now, you have this robust online course that has all the variables needed. The onboarding is dialed in. And as you iterate the system, it'll just require less and less and less of your time, because as you work with each new group of people, you're going to iron out the kinks till eventually, like a year from now, you can have this well-oiled machine that's doing 20, 30, 40, 50, in some cases even $100,000 a month, where you were probably capped at making, let's say, maybe 10 to 15K a month at best doing one-on-ones, and you were burnt out and exhausted the whole time. So this model is something that if you commit to it and stick to it, can do amazing numbers for you in the future. If you're watching this right now and you want to move to doing this group coaching model and something that's more scalable so that you can start consistently doing numbers like 10, 15, 20, 30K a month or more, book a strategy session with me at the link below, right? So I only take on 12 new clients each month. So by the time you book the call, the number of the spots I have left might be 12 if it's the beginning of the month. It might be 1 if it's near the end. But sign up, book the call. If there's a spot available, I will make sure that the call is approved, and we'll talk about your situation. We'll talk about your current offer. We'll talk about the clients you're serving, and I'll help you find a more profitable, scalable way to build your business. So if you're interested in building a scalable, profitable group coaching program, schedule that offer strategy session, business strategy session at the link below, and we'll talk very soon. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.